Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible, one brave word at a time. And here today to help me with that mission are a couple of the amazing authors of a new book that we have coming out. This one is called Bytes of Light, Evolving Leadership for the Spiritual Entrepreneur. And I'm going to introduce Suzanne and Daphne to you guys in just 1 minute, but I want to say a huge thank you first to our lead authors of this project, Angel and Seth Rohrer. We would not be here without you guys. And you've had a really big mission for this project, which I so appreciate. You two are a dynamic, amazing couple who are really helping redefine what leadership even means. And y'all are going to hear from our authors today more of that redefining. And I get so excited about this topic, you guys, so I can't wait to introduce them to you. Daphne Paris is a master facilitator who helps people connect deeply to the wisdom of their bodies for transformation and healing. And Suzanne Rollen is a light spirit earthwalker, a seeker, witness, and practitioner of the divine order of listening to our ancestors. All right. So Daphne, you're going to start us off today. Tell us about your awesome chapter.
Thank you, Laura. And I am honored to be here. My chapter is chapter 7 in the Bytes of Light book, and it's called The Forgotten Self and How to Remember Her. And it's based on an awakening experience I had in 2016, where I had realized I didn't know who I was anymore. And the ups and downs of that transformation and the tools that I acquired for myself that I now teach to help people find those forgotten pieces of themselves.
Oh my gosh, right away we're going to kick it off into some deep stuff, you guys. Like if you wake up in your life and you're like, I have no idea who I am anymore. This is a moment I'm going to say it could be terrifying, but it is a moment of great opportunity. Tell me why, Daphne.
The opportunity is really tapping into your authentic self and what your mission is for this lifetime. And I had totally closed off that whole side of me. And when I started uncovering it, the magic that happened, I literally still wake up every day and I'm like, okay, universe, what magic is going to happen today? And, fast forward, we're now 2023, the magic that I have created in my life and helped others with, it's the most rewarding. I don't even want to say rewarding. I mean, it's my sole purpose. It's what lights me up. It's not work anymore. Now I have obstacles come at me and I'm like, oh, yay, there's more here. And before I was terrified of all of that. So it's really about being totally connected to the essence of who you are and why you are here.
The term authentic self gets thrown around a lot lately, and I want you to help our viewers really understand what that means from a feeling standpoint. You've been talking a little bit about it, but when you say, I feel like my authentic self, what does that even mean to you?
It's really about peeling back the layers, the masks that we wear on day to day or year to year or decade to decade, and finding out, really who am I underneath that all? And I believe we're each sent here with a unique set of gifts. And when we uncover those gifts, we're living our life's purpose, the mission that we're here for, source, God, universe, energy, whatever your word is. We're sent here to uncover those gifts. That's our authentic self. When we peel back all of the outer masks or capes that we wear, roles that we wear, and really deepen into really what are we supposed to be here for? It's more than being a mom or a daughter or a sister or a husband or a corporate executive, whatever hats you wear. It's about that soul purpose that's underneath it all.
I want to hit on one more thing and kind of rewind to what you said about, well, work stops feeling like work. And if any of you who have been in a job where it felt like work, but you've also had an experience of being your authentic self in a job that doesn't feel like work anymore, you kind of know the big difference between those two. But what I want to ask you, Daphne, is, so I'm in my purpose, I'm living it, I do not feel like I'm waking up and working at all. The energy moving through me is self-sustaining. It pours out to the people I serve. There's the good feelings of that, right? And then what do you think can happen inside of, well, do you think that even there people can start to burn out? And if that happens, why do you think that's happening if they're working in their purpose every day?
That's a great question, Laura. People can burn out. For me, it's a balance of following the flow. And my business mind wants to take me other places sometimes. And then that spiritual connection is like, follow the flow. Maybe you're not supposed to put all your energy over here, and allowing it to soften into where you're supposed to go. For many of us, we have that controller personality type. I'm one of them, and there can be power in that. But when I get an idea, it's like I have to execute it. And it's reevaluating that idea all the time and doing more of what lights you up. And if it doesn't light you up, just take the other little path. Follow what lights you up, and you won't get that burnout feeling. And sometimes we have to let go of huge expectations of what our vision was. And I'll tell you, the universe always has our back. It always has this plan. So we just need to get quiet and listen to it and follow it and really stay in that flow to keep that feeling of success and abundance without the burnout.
I love the way that we're kicking this off today. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you for being
You're
here.
welcome.
Suzanne, tell us about your amazing chapter.
All right. Well, first, I'm grateful to be here with everybody and be a part of this book project. I wrote chapter 9. It is "Here Are Your Wings, Do Your Thing," and it is. There are some overlaps. It sounds like with Daphne's chapter. It was my journey from feeling so lost. I was in a corporate job that just did not. I had no spark. There was no interest in it, and I was working myself to death. And it was this attempt to sort of prove myself. I was an overachiever and a perfectionist, and was trying so hard and destroying myself in the process, both my spirit and my body. Just, I was drowning in this job. And so this is my journey of surrendering to something greater, letting go of what I thought I was supposed to do and who I was supposed to be, and really discovering myself again, like Daphne was saying, finding that truth. And part of my journey, as I let go of the ways I thought I was supposed to believe, I began to tap into something deeper, and I found a connection with my ancestors, and they have become my greatest guides. Just they provide protection and courage and encouragement and inspiration, and have led me to a totally different path. And it's just opened me up to a whole new world of joy. And the other key piece is finding balance. So my ancestors have offered kind of this insight to masculine feminine balance, and I talk about that in my chapter as well, how I was in this masculine role trying to go and achieve and do all the things, and I lost myself. I lost the softer side of myself. And over the last several years, I've become more nurturing, I'm able to receive. My intuition is increased, and I found this new place. And now I'm being asked to step up and find the more sacred side of the masculine, and take that intuition and guidance, and feel safe to move forward and take new action.
Oh my gosh, so many things here. So I want to talk about surrender, though. I'm going to back you way up for just a minute. God, I want to talk about ancestors. I want to talk about masculine, feminine balance, all these amazing topics. But let's just go back to surrender, because Daphne touched on it too. She's like, go with the flow, let go. Sometimes you have to let go what you thought that vision was so that the universe can take over. Talk to me more about surrender. Like what's that looked like in your life?
Well, initially it was a painful process. I like she said, it was the sense of wanting to control things. And at some point I realized I had no control over anything. I mean, I was just so lost and so broken down, that, and it felt like a collapse. It was, I thought I was losing everything. And so it was to a point where I was like on my knees, just like, okay, I can't keep holding the weight of this. And it was a really painful process. And through the years and through practices and through seeing what comes on the other side of that, this freedom, this release, this lightness and joy and magic, that has allowed me to surrender more easily these days. Like I recognize it sooner before I lose everything again. It's like, oh, okay, I'm out of balance again. Where can I let go? Where can I stop clinging so hard to what I think it's supposed to be and just allow and trust that the right things are happening for me, and things will open up in a new way.
I like listening to you talk about this. I just read the book and took Michael Singer's course, The Surrender Experiment, and you're just making me think about that because, no matter what is coming at you, it was just about letting go to that divine moment, whatever that moment was. And it's really easy to talk about and not so easy to practice every day. But, you both have practices as a leader, as a spiritual entrepreneur that have helped you get through some tough moments and come to the other side to experience the magic. I think all of us can agree that once you get a taste of what's over there, you're like, oh my gosh, okay, it was worth every moment of this, right? But sort of getting back to this leadership idea for a minute, Suzanne, it's in the title of our book. What does evolving leadership mean to you? What's that look like to you?
To me, it's kind of going back to that authentic self. When you show up as your true self, I think you can let go of that idea of the old idea of leadership being sort of power over or controlling other people, or you're forging the way and making everybody do what you're doing or think that they should do, and allowing. It's like a softer place where you're leading with others, right? And everybody brings in their own gifts and their own magic and their own path, and showing up and just offering what we have to others. And it's reciprocal, right? And so yes, we may shine a little brighter in certain areas, and maybe that's where we show up as a leader. But then the light reflects back from others. And I feel like it's almost like I don't know what the community effort or whatever. We come together and we're leading together, and I think it creates a new strength when we can lead from that place, lead from our hearts, and find that community of showing up together as leaders.
Yeah, it's bigger energy when everyone is practicing that authentic self and shining their gifts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Daphne, what about you on this one? Like, what does this look like to you in community? Was a great word, Suzanne, and so was reciprocal, because I can see that moving back and forth. Daphne, what do you want to add to this?
I see it as a feedback loop. And whenever I'm facilitating, I'm always the teacher and the student. And so when I think of evolving leadership, it should always be evolving. I never want to get to the place where I'm not learning something from my group, where that feedback loop is coming from, because, oh my gosh, there's always opportunity to learn more, to grow, to expand. There's always more work to do. It's not like, oh, I'm done. I've done it all and I'm great now. No, how boring would that be? So really, I think we should always be evolving and expanding. That's my goal.
Yes, definitely for me. You're making me think of my martial arts background because they talk a lot about a learner's or beginner's mindset. And that's the mark of a leader, is knowing what you don't know, knowing that there's infinite amount of stuff to know, before you die. Yeah, I love that. All right, so we are talking about bringing our spirituality, our spiritual practice into entrepreneurship. And for a lot of people, putting those two words together is like, what? Can you be a spiritual entrepreneur? Like, what does that even mean? Right. But for me, it's been about honing my skill of listening to my heart and then making decisions from that place that's in my body, that's sensing place. So, Daphne, what is that meant to you? How are you a spiritual entrepreneur?
I used to say that my superpower was the ability to get shit done. And I was like a bulldozer and could just roll over every obstacle. And when I started facilitating, I softened into my superpower was my ability to be vulnerable. And that has served me better than any other tool that I've learned. And as I've grown, being the teacher and the student and the student and the teacher, the entrepreneur part was always inside of me. I mean, I always have like a business mind. I want to do things, but it's more about how do I help others in the ways that I needed it? And that is what the entrepreneurs in me now is. How do I bring people together in a productive way? Now that means I need to learn some marketing. I need to charge for some of these things so that this can be what I do for my work. And it's been expansive and scary, but always inside of me. And my greatest opportunity has been learning how to connect to my heart space, how to go inside of my body. And I would say that all of the modalities I use, it's about moving from the fear in our head into the wisdom of our body. And all of my practices are about, okay, how do I shift out of the head into my heart space? Whether that's a gratitude practice, whether that's fire walking that I facilitate, or sexuality. Every single one of them is about getting out of here and getting into here, because I believe that's where the magic truly happens, is when we're connected to our heart space and in our body.
I fully agree with you there. I think everything good happens when you come back down in here, and that's awareness. And you both are dropping beautiful nuggets of awareness today. The entire book is that. And I wanted to just not forget to say thank you to both of you for not just for saying yes to this, but like taking on that challenge I gave you to be vulnerable in your story and your storytelling. And then you all are stepping up with your master teachings. It sounds so corny, but I get goosebumps when I talk about it, because what I want our viewers to understand is those beautiful, practical master teachings that I think are magical. And it could be as simple as, hey, did you remember to come back down into your body today? And live in there and allow yourself to feel everything, So thank you both. And for doing that so beautifully. And I'm excited for the readers that they're going to get all of the beautiful voices that we've included in this book, and all of those beautiful strategies and practices and medicine, right? Suzanne, what about you for this same question? Like, how do you practice spiritual entrepreneurship?
This is an interesting one for me because I don't currently have any businesses. So what I've found, though, it really is showing up from the heart, even without a business, tapping into that and coming more into alignment with myself. I've actually tried different businesses along the way, and I think it was from some sense of obligation that was just out of alignment, right? And they never worked right? And so now I'm in this place where I feel like I'm in between things, and I've been a caregiver for 3 family members over the last 3 years. And so I haven't put any focus on a business recently, but just showing up every day in that heart space and tapping in, and in some cases it's been a journey of showing up for my friends who have these beautiful magical businesses, and they inspire me. And I feel like that again, it's that mirror, that reflecting of light. So I show up in my light, they show up in theirs, and from that heart space we create magic. So even without a business, I think there's still something about showing up from that place of inspiration and love that is just so important and moving us forward individually and collectively.
For sure. And I'm going to mess with you and say, girl, you're an author. You have a business.
That's true.
So
I am two
always
times
like,
over now.
yes, I like to remind all of my authors who say they don't have a business. Yeah, like, yeah, you do.
Fair enough.
And y'all are going to buy this beautiful book from Suzanne with her magical juju signature on it. And she's going to be like, okay, I want to answer that question differently now. No,
Right.
I'm teasing.
Well, and I came from my heart on that. So there you go.
I know you did. And that was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is perfect actually, because I'm going to stick with you for this next question that I have for both of you. You know, these book titles and everyone that I publish, we take a holistic approach to health and wellness and business. And when I started out as a physical therapist, I quickly branded myself as a holistic physical therapist because I wanted people to understand that I was less traditional, but holistic can mean a lot of things, right? So Suzanne, why is it important to take a holistic approach when it comes to this journey that we're on?
I feel like holistic includes all of our different aspects, all of who we are. So that's, you know, body, mind, spirit, soul, the whole package. And I think to live a truly rich, full life, you really have to pay attention to each of those things, right? And so I know with your practice, from what I've heard you speak about, yes, with the physical therapy, obviously you're in the body, right? But you bring this other piece of it, and I think that understanding what's underneath the physical, you know, there's emotional, there's trauma, all of these things that we carry with us, and I think holistic looks at that whole package and allows us to clear out all of what's not ours and come back to our center and back to our heart where we can live more fully.
I love that answer. And okay, Daphne, so you take this on too. Why is holistic important when it comes to this journey?
Absolutely. So to me, looking at the whole gives us the ability to identify all the possible ways to support us. And my background includes a master's in health education. And we studied the whole, including environmental, spiritual, physical, even environmental, and looking at what toxins are in your home. Because if you're doing all of this work spiritually, physically, but your home is full of toxins, that's going to be a barrier. Okay. Maybe your spiritual is a blocker. Maybe you're carrying some beliefs that are limiting you there. So they're all ways for us to identify the pieces of the pie that might need a little bit more attention or a little more love or some cleaning up. So really, when we look at things holistically, I feel like it's a gift to be able to identify. It's not just occupational. It's not just about our work. There's this other piece. You could have the most successful career in the world and be making a ton of money. But if your physical is out of balance, or your spiritual is out of balance, or your emotional, all of these bodies live within us. So really, for me, it's about, yay, I get all of these other ways to look at things to help me polish out and balance the entire self.
Yeah, all these different opportunities. And when you're improving one that needs attention, you just naturally improve the whole. that good energy spreads to, I think of a wheel when I think about this, like all the little sections, right, of the wheel. I really love listening to you guys talk about these topics. And I know that if you're listening, you may not have a circle of holistic healers to talk to about these amazing topics, right? And that's one of the reasons why we're bringing these interviews to you, so you can realize you do have a community, a whole community of healer experts in these topics to talk to. And later I'll talk about how you can connect with Suzanne and Daphne as two of our authors. But I think the thing I'm most proud of with these books is the community that we're building, the very generous people who are there for you to help you take the next step. You know, talking about holistic, you know, maybe you've never had anybody help guide you in what that means in your home or your body or your mind or whatever it is. So again, I really can't say thanks enough to all of you, but for you two today, thanks for being who you are and really helping people understand the importance of some of this stuff, you know. I want to get back to the leadership topic here before we wrap up today. So I believe great leaders challenge others to step up and lead too, right? We empower people to connect to their worth, their inner wisdom, their own intuition and inner healer, right? So Daphne, what's that message you want to leave our viewers with today that might help them connect back into that power they have?
Find the tools that work for you. This book is a combination of such strong medicine that is so different from author to author. And find whichever medicine connects with you to really peel back what doesn't serve you, to shed that old skin, and to keep trying to identify what is underneath that, what is authentic to you, what is in your heart space. And the more you identify that, the easier and more natural you will reemerge as the leader in whatever you're supposed to be leading. So really just keep seeking until you find it.
Seeking, reminding people to keep going is really important, especially, you know, we've had like a rough few years here, you know, everybody has for lots of reasons. And it might be that you're at the end of your hope rope, that you're just at the end and you're like, no, you know, but I think Daphne's message is so important. Keep seeking, you know, show up. There's going to be something or someone that sparks that soul and you'll be moving in that right direction. Suzanne, how about you? What's that message you have for everyone about connecting back into their power?
Well, the first thing that kind of came up for me was very similar to what Daphne said. So rather than repeat that amazing answer, I think for me, one thing I would add is finding your sacred no, to give yourself some space. So, you know, we all feel like there are things coming, whether you've got kids or a job or a spouse or whatever, there's always demands on us every day from the world around us. And so sometimes we just have to say no and find ourselves a moment, claim that moment for yourself and get still. And it's a process. It's hard to kind of shut down the busy mind and that's, you know, still pulling you back into things, even when you find a quiet moment. But just keep showing up for yourself and taking that moment so that you can start to come back out of your busy mind into your heart and your body. So I think that's important. I think sometimes we just need to slow down a little.
This message for our entrepreneurs is especially important. And oh man, you're going to get me started on this one because I've been kind of in the thick of finding my no again. And you know, y'all don't want to wait for the fire to start before you practice this. So this is also so important to understand. And I've been practicing, especially with the people that it's the hardest to practice with. I've had to say, you guys, I don't have the energy. I need to recharge. I got to say no to this weekend, this plan, this whatever you want me to do next, you know. I really appreciate that you brought that one up, Suzanne. And so between seek and don't give up and say no if you have to, right? I love that you guys gave those messages. That was so perfect. And to both of you, Suzanne Rollen, Daphne, Paris, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone. Thanks, ladies. So I know you all might have heard something today that gave you the goosebumps or made you curious, or maybe you need some support. So I will just repeat what I said. This is way more than a book. These are generous healers and humans who are there to help support you. So scroll down into the show notes. I've got the websites and links hooked up there for both of these authors, and you can connect in our communities. And sometimes that's the bravest thing you can do, is reach out. And so I encourage y'all to do that with our community, because they are badasses and amazing. And of course, you're invited to join us for the book launch party that we're going to have on Zoom for all of our authors of Bytes of Light. That's going to be June 24th, noon Eastern. And I have some information down below about that as well. If you happen to be listening to this interview after that date, well, then hop over to Amazon, because that means you can buy the book. And lastly today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.